Good morning, dear students. In last class, we have discussed about the combustion. What is combustion? Combustion is a process in which air is required, oxygen is required for burning of a substance. For a burning of a substance means substance burned with a flame and produce heat and energy and carbon dioxide. So, oxygen and air is needed for burning of a substance. Here one activity is given. Here is one activity given. In this activity, three candles are taken. One candle put on the wooden block, some space is there, and covered with a jar. This is second candle which taken above the direct on wooden block and covered with a glass jar. Now this is third, which the jar is directly put on the wooden block and covered with a wooden block. Now we see in B and C condition the candle will be not burned. Candle not burned in B and C, but in A condition candle burned with a flame. Why? Because in this condition small space are there. From this small space air is passing in the jar. Air is passing in the jar. So we know that air is necessary for burning of a substance. So for a burning of candle air is necessary, and this air is pass out from this space, so candle is burned with a flame. But in condition B and C the candle is not burned with a flame. Why? Because in both condition air is not in the jar, air is absent in the jar. So with the absence of air the candle cannot burn with the flame, because air is necessary for burning of the substance. So in these two conditions air is absent in the jar, so candles are not burned with the flame. But in first condition air is pass out from this portion, small space are there, so air is enter into this portion, so air is help for burning the candle. So for a burning of a substance air is a necessary. So air is necessary for a burning of substance. Okay, now we will discuss ignition temperature. Now our topic is ignition temperature. Ignition temperature is a temperature, it is a lowest temperature at which substance catches fire. Ignition temperature is a lowest temperature, the temperature at which substance catches fire. When this temperature is provided to the substance, then substance catches fire. Otherwise substance doesn't catch any fire. So ignition temperature is a lowest temperature which provide fire to the substance. Means substance catches fire at the lowest temperature. This temperature is known as ignition temperature. For example, can you tell now why a matchstick does not catch fire on its own at room temperature? Matchstick cannot catch fire on room temperature because room temperature does not provide ignition temperature to the matchstick for catches fire. So matchstick required a ignition temperature for catching fire. That's why the matchstick cannot catches fire at the room temperature. Why? Because ignition temperature is required. Without ignition temperature matchstick cannot catch fire. So ignition temperature is the lowest temperature at which any substance catches fire. Without this temperature substance cannot get any fire. Okay, now this is the history of matchstick. The history of matchstick is very old. More than 5,000 years ago, a small piece of pine wood dipped in sulfur. Pine wood dipped in sulfur were used as matches in the ancient Egypt. The modern safety match was developed only about 200 years ago. A mixture of antimony trisulfide, potassium chloride and white phosphorus with some glue and starch was applied on the head of a match made of suitable wood. When struck against a rough surface, white phosphorus got ignite due to the heat of friction. Means when we matchstick strike on the strike on the matchbox, then phosphorus catches the fire. Phosphorus catches the fire. Phosphorus got ignite due to the heat of friction, because the matchstick and matchbox, in between matchstick and matchbox, a friction force is developed. Due to this friction force, the head of matchstick, which is black in color, which contain phosphorus, then phosphorus ignite. This start the combustion of match. White phosphorus proved to be dangerous both for the workers involved in the manufacturing of matches for the uses. These days, head of safety match contain only antimony, so we avoid the phosphorus nowadays. Antimony trisulfide, potassium chloride are used for making the head of matchstick. Okay, the rubbing surface has powdered glass and a little red phosphorus, which is much less dangerous. So nowadays we use red phosphorus, because red phosphorus is less poisonous, less dangerous for workers and are himself. So in nowadays we use for make the head of the match. What is the use? What we use? We use antimony trisulfate, potassium chloride and red phosphorus, because red phosphorus is also ignite due to the frictional force, but it is less dangerous. When the match is struck against the rubbing surface, some red phosphorus get converted into the white phosphorus, and it immediately react with potassium chlorate in the matchstick head to produce enough heat to ignite antimony trisulfide and start the combustion, and your matchstick got the fire. Your matchstick catches the fire. Now we find subcombustible substance cannot catch the fire or burn as long as its temperature is lower than its ignition temperature. If substance contain lower temperature than the ignition temperature, then substance cannot catch the fire. For example, wood. Wood and kerosene. If we provide lower ignition temperature, then they cannot catch the fire. Now this is your activity. In this activity, make 2 paper cups by folding a sheet of paper. This is a paper cup. Pour 50 ml of water in 1 cup. We pour 50 ml water in 1 cup. Heat both the cups. We heat both the cups separately with a candle. What do you observe? What happened in the one in which you fill 50 ml water and another one is empty? When you heat both the cup, then what happens? What happens to the empty paper cup? What happens to the paper cup with water? Does the water in this cup become hot? If we continuously heating the cup, we can even boil water in the paper cup. Okay, means in this container, in which container we fill the water and we provide heat, then water will be boiled in the paper cup. Okay, now how it is possible we will discuss in the next class. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.